All right, now we get to matches. And before we can get the match of the year, we've got to do worst match of the year. And in 2024, Braden and I chose brother versus brother, Jay versus Jimmy Uso on the first night of WrestleMania 40.
What did you guys pick if you didn't pick that?
I thought I picked that one.
This is a good one. Wei had Kota Ibushi and Naomichi Marufuji at Noah the New Year, and Davey Portman chose Konosuke Takeshita versus Ricochet from AEW Full Gear.
Oh, come on.
Right. Not at your...
No, that match pissed me off.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did not care for that one. I like the bold take that Davey took. And to that point, Davey, why don't you kick this topic off for us?
For me, it's often I class this one as most disappointing. And that, like Ricochet versus Takeshita sums that up. I think two incredible performers, and they didn't play to their strengths at all, and was pretty dull match. And that's why I went for that. And this year, it doesn't get bigger in wrestling than the main event of WrestleMania. And to shit the bed so badly as they did, and I think follows up with my last point, this match summed up the year WWE had, where they are not aware of what the audience want at all. To not make it clear to your audience through storytelling that The Rock is not going to be there. To take let's just ignore it and people will forget. No, we all saw it. We all saw the turn. Just as I mentioned earlier, tell us. Script something that tells us why The Rock isn't there. Shifting that from, Cena selling his soul to The Rock to just being a generic you people storyline going into WrestleMania didn't make sense. Like, I keep forgetting that this is John Cena's monumental 17th title win because it was such a whimper. It didn't have the fanfare it should have. His entrance stripped away where it should be. His final WrestleMania, you should have the marching band out there for him and everything. And then grinding to a halt with Travis Scott, who I don't listen to his music. And honestly, still, he could walk in right now and I wouldn't know who he fucking is. I know I'm alone in that, but a lot of people feel my way as well, who are not interested in that kind of music and aren't necessarily as bothered about his star power. In a mid-card, sure. In the main event of WrestleMania, this guy who looks 90 pounds soaking wet coming out, and Cody's got to sell for 5 minutes while he's making his entrance to Fiend, which has been stuck in my head since WrestleMania season. Just a complete bullshit finish, a complete whimper of a match. They did a real good make good with SummerSlam, and that match was terrific, and I'm happy for them that they got the opportunity to go out again. But it just showed everything that it was with the Raw Netflix debut, just this company is focused on celebrity and advertisements and moments over storytelling and wrestling. And for me, it's always going to be storytelling and wrestling that pulls me in. And this was a massive turnoff for me.
Do you agree, Braden?
Absolutely. I mean, we watch NXT, and I don't think it's fair to give developmental worst match of the year. There's been plenty of stinkers on Tuesday nights. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty, but those people are trying to get better. They're not on the main event of WrestleMania, and that is exactly why I agree. We had our watch party in Toronto at our bar, and I don't think I could ever remember just the air being sucked out of an event like that happened.
I remember us faking it. We were all trying to it and trying to get into the near falls and things, even before the Travis Scott.
I think if John Cena is retiring, first of all, the whole tour should have leaded up to a giant stadium show, whether it's WrestleMania this year or next year, who knows, but they should have programmed around John Cena's final WrestleMania. Should have been a big deal. And instead he comes out to the blacked out Titantron, the sad, mean face, boo-boo face of John Cena. It wasn't what we wanted to see from him. And then the match itself, when it started, Cody's entrance was weird too, with people doing bike tricks for 5 seconds. Didn't make sense. His mask was cool, I guess. But then they tie up and they wrestle, and I thought, okay, when's it going to get into that gear? And it never really does. And then Travis Scott comes out. Now, okay, Dave, you don't like his music. Birds in the Trap saying Brian McKnight is a fantastic album, but think back to the days of Limp Bizkit being used in WWE music. You wouldn't use Fred Durst in the main event of WrestleMania 18 or 19.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, like what?
The
Why
only
would you
person
do
that makes sense is Mike Tyson because he's Mike Tyson in a combat sport environment. You know,
Like if anything, this made me hate Travis Scott more than anything. And I grew up with a lot of his music from the past, and I'd say now that he's kind of commercially huge, I don't like a lot of his music. He's kind of like WWE. He's made it as famous as he can possibly be, and I don't like him. And I didn't like how he was brought in here at Chamber. It like, oh, okay, what are they doing here with The Rock, John Cena, Travis Scott? Why is he there? I'm not sure, but we're gonna find out. We don't. And then he just walks out so slow. And think of any times people reference how many titles, who's got the most titles in the world? Well, Ric Flair, 16. Now it's John Cena's never seen 17, and there's a fucking asterisk because it's one of the worst WrestleMania matches, main events ever that I can think about.
an even weirder trivia fact. So Travis Scott helped him win his 17th title.
Yeah.
John Stewart prevented him from winning his 17th
Oh, wow.
title.
See, that guy should have showed up at the main event. I just think like it was so bad. And I think of John Cena's last WrestleMania. John Cena wins the 17th title, which possibly no one will ever win a 17th title. And somehow it's dirty, it's muddy, and it sucked.
And everyone's waiting for the Rock's music to hit
Yeah.
as well, which
And
it
The Rock
doesn't,
never
which
comes.
adds
That was
that
the worst part.
disappointment.
Yeah, it's just, it got to go down as one of the worst WrestleMania main events ever. And it can't be excused.
Way.
This year, I went with a match that I guess was so bad that I wanted to go out of my way to see it. And that was Minoru Suzuki versus Butterbean.
Yes.
Mark
I watched
Hitchcock
this.
Memorial. This was a match that, I mean, I don't know why they made it other than to maybe join in on like the sort of like what the fuck type of matchmaking that like is sort of popular now with, or has been popular for a long, long time with, just these WrestleMania supplementary shows. And Minoru Suzuki, bless him, he's somebody who I don't know if he'll say no to much. You know, he's somebody who just will have matches with pretty much anybody, and maybe he should have said drew the line at Butterbean because this is a Butterbean that at his age cannot do anything, can't take a bump, won't even can't
This was
sell.
DDP Yoga Butterbean, and he still had this guy had no business doing anything.
He was in a wheelchair before this, and DDP Yoga or whatever got him out of it, but he didn't do any bumps in this match.
Not at all. And like, okay, fine. Like, if I'm glad he was able to maybe get in some sort of shape for it, but that's still a far cry from a professional wrestling match, especially along with Minoru Suzuki, who on the same weekend had a match with the Blow Up Doll that was way better than this match.
Yoshihiko, so he was pissed at this match,
Yep.
clearly, right? Like he clearly was upset that this happened. And then the next night he took it out on poor Yoshihiko, which was honorable mention for one of my matches of the year coming up. But
On top of that, you didn't even have a real finish. Like they were just hesitant and inactive for a very long time. There are rounds to this because I guess a boxer, he finally gets a takedown where there's zero action here from Butterbean. He tries somehow to like work a leg lock type of battle. And Butterbean just like, I don't know if they just never practiced it or he's never seen a leg lock before, but there's just nothing to this. And then it just ends at a fucking double countout at 9 minutes in length. So I really question the matchmaking here. Like maybe they were given the wrong impression about Butterbean's ability at his age, but it was really hard to think of a worse match.
This is one of the worst matches I've ever seen.
yeah, it's great.
Regardless of year, it was my pick, and it wasn't even this was solidified. I knew on April 17th I wouldn't see anything worse than this. Some honorable mentions that I'll throw in. The worst Motor City Machine Guns match I've ever seen was with Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy, June 13th on SmackDown.
Yeah.
That Cena R-Truth match that they finally inserted on June 20th on SmackDown. Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green had a horrific match on Saturday night's main event. And Red Velvet and Kira at Fantastica Mania June 20th was a sight to see, as well as some of the the worst matches. of the year.
Suzuki Butterbean, when that was announced, it's like people like me, I was like, fuck yeah, this is going to be awful. This is going to be so ass. Whereas WrestleMania main event, you shouldn't be going into that being like, oh, this is gonna So like, that's where I think I changed I wrote that match down like months ago as worst match ever. But then you're hype and you're going into WrestleMania and it's somehow it was worse than that. I found very sick enjoyment watching Butterbean versus Suzuki, especially when
Dan Seven involved as well.
there's a few UFC guys. It's clearly when Suzuki's pissed and they're like brawling ringside, if you can call it that. And he definitely like hits Butterbean once, and Butterbean like falls over, and it's kind of like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Suzuki's rate just went up for this show, for this year in Vegas.
Rematch.
He was really. I got to meet him, and he was very scary in real life. Pancrase legend, but wow, what a match!
Throughout the month of January, you have the chance to lock in your subscription at the Post Wrestling Cafe for all of 2026 before the price increase takes effect February the 1st. Simply sign up before February 1st and you will lock in that price all year long. If that's not enough, this month we have the annual Best and Worst of show as we get together with the Poison Rana crew to look back at 2025. We're also doing live watch-alongs of the Royal Rumbles from 1990 and 1995 with Brandon from New Jersey, a retrospective on the Tanahashi-Okada rivalry, plus reaction to Wrestle Kingdom 20, a review of TNA's debut on AMC, and much more, including TNA Genesis, UFC 324. It's all found at postwrestlingcafe.com.
Okay, match of the year. In 2024, this was amazing. Me, Wei, and Braden all chose separate Will Ospreay matches last year. I had him and Danielson at Dynasty. Wei went with Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher from Full Gear, and Braden went with Ospreay and Takeshita from Revolution. Davey, you went with Swerve and Bryan Danielson at All In London. So, Wei, why don't you start us off with match of the year?
Yeah, my match of the year this year was the Hollywood ending for Toni Storm and Mariah May. And again, like there's been incredible wrestling this year. I had a very pretty good list of just a lot of great ones, and I'm sure you guys will mention some of them. But like for me, while not necessarily bell to bell, what I might consider the best wrestling match that you might picture in your head, I just thought the effect of it, choosing to go the pace that they did with this death match, type of show was just an incredible way to just draw you in from the get-go. I think there was a level of risk and violence that I just didn't expect out of a feud so built on cartoonish characters, and they were just unloading crazy spots from the beginning, and it was just big spot after big spot. You had your duct tape glass fight between the two, and just a lot of thought put into the visuals, in particular, of course, towards the final moments and the final end that ended with the end on the screen. I think a lot of it just had such great thought put into it, and was a level of creativity that I was just so incredibly satisfied by for what ultimately was an incredible way to say goodbye to the company for Mariah May. So I thought it was a masterpiece, and it stuck with me throughout the course of the year.
Braden, what was your match of the year?
My match of the year was a match I got to attend at AEW All In Texas, the Texas Death Match. As the entrances hit and the lights turned a dark orange in the stadium, a very scary Texas storm hit Arlington, and it was perfect for when this match kicked off. And about a minute or 2 minutes into this match, Moxley goes to use a fork, and Hangman says, I have one, and repeatedly stabs the guy in the head as it shoots out blood. Again, seconds into this match, and that's when I knew right away that this was probably my match of the year. It was almost like if WrestleMania 40 Night 2 was Endgame of WWE, this kind of felt like that for AEW. You had Bryan Danielson coming back. You had Darby. Being there live, we weren't sure. It wasn't until I rewatched this back of how they were able to show Darby's insane stunt of dropping down from the stadium. And Davey and I have some great video. In fact, got to talk to the people who rigged up Darby afterwards in the media box. And it was, I was straight up you guys did this? That was insane. And it came across on TV so awesome. And then on top of that, the big moment with Swerve, kind of Vegeta and Gohan beating up Cell. It was whoa, they're together now. They're going to fight and he's helping him. It was, I don't know. It was a perfect storm of very violent wrestling, which I know can't be everyone's cup of tea, but when it's warranted, it makes a lot of sense. And it hit on so many different things of the story, the violence, and everything in between. I thought everyone involved in this hit their part so perfect. And I felt like people were kind of tired as that match started. But if you watch it back, the volume in the stadium gets louder and louder. And by the time Hangman finally has that big dramatic ending where Mox taps out, it's beautiful, and the place goes nuts. And I'll always remember how that felt being there in that stadium. So there's a lot of good wrestling this year, but this one comes to mind as one of my favorite things that I've been able to attend. So shout out Texas Death.
Davey.
Yeah, the same thing. Texas Death Match at All In. Just everything I love in wrestling. For me, a match isn't just bell to bell. It's the story leading into it. It's the video package. It's the entrances. It's it's the celebration after, it's everything. And for me, this had such a good story going in. We mentioned earlier the entrance with the whistler as Hangman comes out, and you're seeing him on his ranch in the video, but also the camera work. It goes to the heel entrance and then goes to the babyface entrance where Hangman finally comes out to his old babyface theme. So you've got the real Hanger going into it. Somehow they outdid their last Texas Death from Revolution 2023, I think it was, which was incredible. But I think with this match, it made me feel. And for me, it's always, for me to go to that 5-star territory, I need to feel something. I need to feel some sort of emotion. And I felt a lot in this match. I felt sick watching Moxley getting stabbed in the head with the fork. I felt like euphoria seeing Danielson return. And again, like,
you mean Blue Panther? You mean?
Yes, but the vantage point we had, like, we saw, you see on TV Darby coming from like the score screen, the giant screen in the middle. He probably had like 20 feet above that he starts coming down, and was just crazy to watch. But it worked really well for me because I'm distracted watching Darby come down, and I'm watching it, following it, and then I sort of get to the screen and I see Danielson's in the ring with the Blue Panther mask. So the distraction for me as an audience member was the same as like Moxley is feeling in the match, where he's looking everywhere for Darby and then Danielson's just there. I think everyone played their part so well, like the little sleight of hand with Nana cuffing Marina, and just everyone being like, no, fuck these guys. Like, we need to take this back from them. And then just the real emotion, like just seeing the belt coming out of the briefcase, and you hear the roar from that crowd of just there's the roar when he wins, but then there's the pop of just revealing the title and genuine emotion coming out of Hangman. And you mentioned, like, and you don't see this on the TV, but the roof of Globe Life Field is glass. And they put these orange lights on for the main event, but the clouds just got black above us and rain's coming down. Wow. So you really felt like this is the finale of a movie. This is, them in the desert and the rainstorm starting and a cactus sets on fire. It really felt like that.
He shows up in a truck with the guys in the back of it. It's shit's about to go down.
Everything was perfect for me in this match, and it will be remembered for a long time.
Yeah, there's few things that can bring men to tears, like the beautiful poetry exemplified by a bed of nails. To really signify the
and Mox is selling at the end, like you believe he's gonna die, like he's choking, and it's the same finish than before, that which I love. But it's like, it's not like Moxie's the kind of character who, okay, maybe until recently, he's like, you can break my arm, I'm not relinquishing this championship. You can't kill me though, and that's what Hangman is. It's like, I'm gonna choke you to death unless you tap. And just, it was fantastic.
I may have made the mistake of showing this match to my girlfriend last week, and she thought it was very violent, but she also was like, that was pretty cool.
It's also the struggle in the match. I think there are so many death matches where a guy just allows someone to take a pizza cutter to their forehead. I'm like, why are you not fighting that off? Every moment in this, with the glass, with the forks, it's them really trying not to have that happen to you, which makes it a believable fight.
Yeah.
All right, my matches, you guys had some excellent ones to pick from. I would say, like, the big three for me, I thought that Kenny Omega and Gabe Kidd, when I saw it, I thought that, like, this is going to be the high bar for the year, and it was exceeded for me, but I think we went in, and there were still all these questions about Kenny Omega, but you had the drama of him returning to the Tokyo Dome. It was, to me, the anointment of Gabe Kidd, which unfortunately really didn't come to pass in New Japan in 2025. But man, did this match just hit at such a high level, and watching how like you can see in the match where it goes from Omega like reading the crowd that, okay, I'm the outsider here, and they do literally like change the direction of the match by when he puts him through the table at ringside and the crowd is booing Kenny and he just turns on heel, and it's Gabe Kidd honoring Shibata and wearing the New Japan outfit, and it's just the whole both just juice an incredible amount in this match as well.
And I have to say, like, I don't know how other people feel about this, but I feel like a big part of the success of that match was Chris Charlton's commentary for me in the storytelling. I know it probably upset a lot of other people, but like for me, I thought it just like helped tell the story really, really well.
And then Tanahashi crying at the end. You knew it was a
Yeah,
banger.
there was that aspect to it too. Saya Kamatani and Tam Nakano was just, again, like I thought, like, you can't get higher for a retirement match. I thought that was just like a wonderful, wonderful match. My pick though was Bandito and Konosuke Takeshita from Supercard of Honor from ROH. This match was just watching two people at their absolute best with picture perfect like accuracy. It's one thing to get to a stage where you've got the crowd in the palm of your hands and you can do a lot of your maneuvers that the crowd is educated to, that you can generate big near fall spots out of. And then it's doing slight deviations on those spots that can throw the crowd for a further loop. And to me, like the last, I would say 6-7 minutes of this match, it's operating at a level that this type of match, this was like graduating to an even higher level that it reached. You had Bandito, who was bleeding through his mask in all of this. And just the idea of him beating Takeshita was a really big deal. And I think this match got a ton more attention because if you remember, this was the show that had all the technical issues on Honor Club. So they just threw it on YouTube that night and left it there. So a lot more people got to see this, what was really a great card, but to me, my match of the year.
That is a big thing for fans, and especially if you have friends who are like kind of into wrestling, to be able to send a YouTube link, official link from whether it's WWE, who always puts up full matches from the past. But I noticed Ring of Honor this year, especially that match and other AEW matches, like that can help. If something is happened, sure, it's on a pay-per-view, whatever, but putting it out for free, allowing the masses to see is the best like introduction you could do. We were in Texas that day, and we actually opted out of going to that match. We went to Cowboy Red Rivers and
For barbecue and
line dancing. So
yeah.
it was still a good night, but I remember finally watching that match like a day or two later and being like, oh my God, that match was so good. And I love my boy Takeshita. So I was like, but I do think like, I hope we get to see that match again this year, but it was such a perfect like styles clash. Is there any other this is a great honorable mentions, right? We're allowed honorable mentions here, right?
Let's be concise, okay? We've got more to do, and there is a time limit.
You mentioned that cage match, Ospreay and Fletcher. I thought that was one of the best cage matches I've ever seen. Like, there's incredible storytelling and insane spots in that. You mentioned Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, one of the best WWE matches this year for me also.
And the women's three-way at WrestleMania.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Rhea, Io,
Oh, my
and
God.
Bianca. I thought those were the two best WWE matches I saw this year.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I wasn't as high on Cena and AJ as others were, but it was an excellent match. Cena and Cody at SummerSlam. Like, Cena's matches, like, the big ones, like, he found that formula, and it was typically, like, as a babyface as well.
Okada, Takeshita, Dorada, I thought was
Yeah,
also
yeah.
up there as well. Anarchy in the Arena, I also wanted to shout out.
Zach and Takeshita, the title change, that was a spectacular match. Goto winning the title, like, that feels a long time ago, but that was back in February when he beat Zach, and that was an incredible moment of Goto winning the title.
A match that definitely hit for me was Winter is Coming. Kyle Fletcher and Speedball Mike Bailey. Like, what an that. I knew that was going to bang, but that was like 19 minutes of just these guys going out there and killing each other. But the matches this year there was a lot of good wrestling.